This is Support is Sexy, episode 273, and today we're going to talk about ingredients for a great brand story. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I interview inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and their lessons to help you take your business and your life to the next level and create something sexy. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm happy to have you here. It just would not be the same without you. And today we are continuing our series on creating your unforgettable brand story. We've been talking about that all week. So if you haven't listened to the other episodes, even though each one I think can stand alone, but you want to go back to the beginning, listen to that first episode, episode 270, and go through the series if you're in the space where you're creating a brand story. If it's not you, if it's someone you know, please share it with a friend. But today our topic is ingredients for a great brand story. Now, there's no foolproof method, at least in my opinion, for how you write your brand story. Everyone has a different method, just like with writing any story. Every writer is different. Every motivation is different. There's no foolproof, surefire way. But in my experience, this is what has helped me in almost every story that I've ever written that I can think of, at least right now. Having these ingredients within the story or thinking about it in this way helps me to get the most effective story, in addition to asking those key questions, which we talked about on the last episode. So you want to go listen to that. But key questions, and then having this kind of setup or this kind of thought process when I'm creating the story. So I'm going to share with you some of those ingredients that you can apply to creating your brand story. Now, what I like to say is think about your story as a fantastic meal, something that you want to either gobble up or maybe it's something that you want to savor. But either way you look at it, it's a fantastic meal, a meal you want to tell people about, but a meal that you think is either prepared by you perfectly or it is presented to you perfectly. So that's what your story is going to be, the perfect meal. That's the thought process that we're going with today, right? So to start your meal off, there is the appetizer, the lead for your story. Now, with your brand story, some people might start with an event or a pivotal moment that sort of started them on this journey in order to captivate the audience, to bring them in through some kind of key moment or key turning point or something that was really a catalyst for how this all began, right? So that's part of the beginning of the brand story. So using myself as an example, the beginning of my brand story could be the time that I've shared with you all before, 2015. I was at a point in my business where I wanted to either pivot or persevere. I had this other business for many years. I wasn't really as passionate about it as I felt I needed to be in order to persevere. And then this concept of support is sexy kept really calling to me. It was a mantra, kept calling to me. And then that evolved and turned into what it has become today. The podcast, the Support is Sexy Mastermind, the Support is Sexy movement to get more women to ask for and accept support. So it would be worded, of course, much more eloquently than I said it, but you get the idea that this was the turning point for me and could be an entry point or the appetizer to lead into my brand story. Now, for other people, they might start with a result. So something that happened in the end, as opposed to looking at how they started. So just a general example, if you started an app for dating that is different from anyone else who has done an app like this, or the app itself is doing something extraordinary and had some extraordinary results. So say it's number one in iTunes and it's has the biggest audience or the most matches. What do dating apps do? You see, I've been out the game for a while, right? The biggest results or the largest results or the biggest numbers, whatever it is about your app is just fantastic. Everybody needs to know about it. You're starting your brand story with the captivating results. So you can start with the end and then go back to how you started, how you began that journey and how you got to that end result. Then after the appetizer, we get to the main course for your meal, right? So this is the hefty part of your story that really dives into what you really want to deliver to your audience. Now, while I do think you want to be vulnerable and, of course, honest and connecting with your audience, you don't have to bleed on the page. And that's something that we used to say as writers and editors years ago. I don't know if people still say that, but where you're pouring your heart out on the page and it's just like you're basically bleeding on the page to tell your story. I don't think that's necessary. I think if you be who you are, open, honest, authentic, vulnerable, telling as much of your story as you feel comfortable, the key is you're trying to communicate your why. You're not trying to communicate a sob story, or you're not trying to get pity. You're trying to get people to invest and enroll in your vision. You want them to care. And in fact, they want to care. So give them a reason. And within the meal, the main course, that is where you give them the reason. You don't have to give them everything. Avoid throwing in everything but the kitchen sink. You don't want to stuff them when you're thinking about a meal. Not too much, just enough for people to feel truly satisfied. So this is the part of the story where you do that. Get into your why, which you discovered if you listen to the past episodes this week in our series. We did a lot of exercises and things to talk about how to get to what your why might be. This is the place where you want to communicate that. Now, after the main course comes the dessert, right? The sweet treat at the end. And I believe this is the part where you talk about what you're offering to your audience, your customer, your listener, whoever the people are who are receiving your message. This is your chance to really hit the sweet spot, if you will, for your audience. So what is the thing that you're offering? Is it that you're saying that you're a speaker? Is it saying that you're selling a certain product? Are you offering a certain service? What is the thing that is your special offer? Are you saying that your product is so fantastic that they must try it? Think about that as your sweet spot. This is where you really go in and say, this is the beautiful thing that I am offering to you within this brand story. And then the last part of your meal, I know you're thinking, but isn't the dessert the last part? Maybe a glass of wine would be in there somewhere. But the last part that I want to mention is the icing on top, or maybe it's the cherry on top. Let's say it's the cherry on top, right? This is your kicker, your call to action. What do you want your customer, client, colleague, whoever you're talking to, what do you want them to do? This is the cherry on top. So it's your call to action. Do you want them to buy your product? So you're not just telling what your offer is. What do you want me to do about your offer? Okay, you have this great app. What do you want me to do? Is it to buy your product? Is it to hire you for a job, a certain position, whether that's in a company? We talked about in the past episodes ways that your brand story can boost your career. Or is it to hire you for a special gig or consultation? Is it to book you for a speaking engagement? Is it simply to visit your website? What is the cherry on top, the thing that you want me to do, the call to action? That is what you want to weave into the final part of your brand story. Now, in crafting all of this, it doesn't have to be as overt as I am making it when I'm explaining it to you. You will do this throughout your story. These will all be threaded in your story as you're telling your story. But when you're thinking about structure, this is just one example of a way to think about it. So your appetizer is your lead, however you want to open it up and bring people into your story. The meat, the hefty part of your story where you really dive into your why, make me care. Tell me I want to care. Give me a reason to care. And then the dessert, the sweet treat. What is your offer? What is the thing that you really want to tell me about that you do, or that you want me to know about what you do? And then the cherry on top. What is the call to action? What do you want me to do about that thing that you've created or that you've offered to me as a consumer or customer, a client, a partner, whatever that is? So overall, again, this isn't necessarily the go-to all the time method that you use for writing any story, but it is an example of one method that I use when I'm creating profiles on people. Certainly when I work with clients on crafting their unforgettable brand stories, this is one approach to use in order to do that. You can, and I think once you have the pieces, you can mix them up however you see fit, but you have an idea of components that you want to make sure of are in your story, like having ingredients that you know you want to be in your meal. You can mix them up, a little bit more pepper here, a little bit more salt there, a little bit of sugar here, however you want to mix it up, but you have an idea of what the ingredients are. The main thing I want you to remember, though, is that you control the narrative. I always say that. You control the narrative. This is your story. So don't worry about it being quote unquote wrong. You will always be able to update the story as you evolve. That's like me with my bio. I update it as things change. I'm not doing it every day, not obsessive about it, but hey, something's changed or something's new, or this is how I want to present this in a better way. Go ahead and update it. This is your story. The thing is, you want to focus on being honest, authentic, transparent, and clear and share as much of your story as you feel comfortable. Again, you don't have to bleed on the page, but be vulnerable and open about your journey, whatever it is that takes us to the point of fully understanding who you are, what you're up to, what you're about, and what your offer is. All right, so I hope this series has been helpful. As I said, I work with a lot of people on creating their brand story, and I talk to even consultations with people discussing brand story, getting clear on your vision for your brand or your product, your service, whatever you're doing. So I wanted to share it with you all because I love you guys. I wanted to share it with you all, give you some ideas. And as I said, I'm creating a free course for it, so I'll tell you about that later. But I did want to give you some of the key pieces in there so you can do this on your own. You can figure it out. Of course, I'm here if you have any questions. And reach out to me. Let me know if this is helpful at Elayne Fluker or at Support is Sexy on social media. You know, you can email me, Elayne at elaynefluker.com. I love to hear from you. And before you go, I do want to share with you what I am excited about these days. I've been talking about it the past few episodes. The Support is Sexy Mastermind. I'm excited about what we have coming up. I'm lining up guests to be a part of our live chats, figuring out how we're going to do that and make that work when I'm here and they're somewhere else. It really is a fantastic group of women from all around the world who are in this group, who have been in there, some for the past year since I first started it, really engaged. And it's all about asking for and accepting support and being in a space where as a woman, as a creative, as an entrepreneur, you can feel comfortable and even encouraged to do that. So please go to supportissexymastermind.com. Check out what's there. I have a video there to tell you more about the mastermind. I have all of the information outlined and what it offers to you, my cherry on top, what it offers to you. And then I have options for how you can enroll if you're interested. But no matter where you go, even if it's not the Support is Sexy Mastermind, my goal is to make sure that you get the support you need and the support you deserve. You're up to something big. You're creating something sexy. I don't want you to do it all alone. I always say, having it all doesn't mean doing it all alone. So make sure that you get support from somewhere. I would love to have you, but if not here, somewhere. So check out supportissexymastermind.com and see if it's right for you. If not, be committed to finding a place where you get support. All right. So as always, thank you so much for listening. I have more information for you guys tomorrow. So please make sure you come on back. And until then, you know what to do. Go out there and create something sexy. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.